Okay. Welcome again to Neighbourhood Connections Church, a church where we hope you will feel comfortable, where you will feel at home, and that you will always feel welcome. One of our mottos here in this church is we do not care where you came from, what your past is. We are concerned about your future and where you're going. With no guilt, no condemnation, we are all broken people. Okay? And remember, Christians, just because you're a Christian, you certainly aren't perfect. And please do not ever think that your pastor is above you. We are all broken. So today's message, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go to the teacher. The greatest teacher that we've ever had. We're going to go to Jesus Christ himself. We're going to be in this for the next 5 weeks. Now, first of all, this message, the Sermon on the Mount. Let me just try something. Put your hand up if you've heard of the Sermon on the Mount. Be honest. All right, put the hands down. A little bit more honest. Put your hands up if you know what the Sermon on the Mount is. That's fine. That's good. Okay, that's honest. And that's the important thing is what it is. But the reason I ask this question is, one of the things that our church here is based on is we want you to be able to feel free to ask questions. I don't understand this, Pastor Dave, and not to get one of these, you don't? That's so simple. No, that's wrong. Sermon on the Mount, they did a survey in the United States. They went around and asked, and the results are probably similar here in Canada. They went around and did a survey in the States and asked what they knew about the Sermon on the Mount. Very interesting. 1/3, 33% of respondents, and you got to figure there's got to be Christians in that group, 1/3 of the people who answered said that the Sermon on the Mount was given by Billy Graham. Now, Billy Graham's a great preacher, there's no question. But guess what? He didn't do it. It was Jesus that did it. There's a lot of misconceptions, and that's why you need to ask questions, because we don't want people wandering around with false beliefs. Joan of Arc was not Noah's wife. So when we start to look at this, this is an amazing sermon that Jesus gave. Why would people come listen to this? And this is just the precursor to this. Jesus heals the sick. Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in the synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness among the people. News about him spread all over Syria, and the people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, demon-possessed, those having seizures, and the paralyzed, and he healed them. Large crowds from Galilee, the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and the region across Jordan followed him. Basically, we're talking about the entire area around what's now known as Israel. That's a big area. Big area. He's going around doing a lot of amazing things, and as you know, it doesn't take much by word of mouth to get out that there's something really cool happening, and there's this one guy, Jesus Christ, who's doing all this. So he's going to go to a spot and do some teaching, and as a result, everybody that can possibly come, comes. Which explains the huge crowds that show up to hear this guy. So what we're looking at here is up here at the top, just at the top where you see Capernaum and Gennesaret, that is where he's going to do the Sermon on the Mount. It's at the top part there. And when I mentioned here that people came from Jerusalem, they came from here all the way up to here to hear him. There's no buses, there's no trains, there's no cars. These guys are hoofing it to come and see him and witness what this is. So a huge number of people are coming all the way up there to see this man, Jesus Christ. I've got this picture here for a reason too, because a lot of skeptics sit there and go, you want me to believe all this stuff? Like, how can one man speak to a huge crowd and be heard? That's a valid question. And it's actually practically, scientifically proven. This is the Sea of Galilee, and approximately the area where Jesus taught. There isn't a plaque there that says this is where Jesus taught. But I want you to notice something. He would have stood down here at the shorefront, at the bottom of a hill, backed by a set of mountains. This is a natural amphitheater. Your voice is naturally amplified to come up. It's like when you do an echo, it shoots out and comes back. This is why the Romans built amphitheaters all over the place where there was no water. They are basically U-shaped and on an angle, so that the person who's speaking stands at the bottom and the voice is amplified. No microphones. So our doubters and our skeptics, there's no reason to doubt. There's no reason to be a skeptic. This makes perfectly good sense. He can be heard. So, now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to teach them. This is what is called the Beatitudes. Now, just before I get into this, I just want to show you something else too. This is the Bible. I think I have this marked. Yeah. If there's a Bible that's called the Red Letter Bible. Red Letter Bible, the scholars have gone through it and have looked at what they believe from the various things, what Jesus said. Up to Matthew 4, okay, which is the first book of the New Testament, you can see that the print is in black, which means that this is just commentary on what's going on. You flick the page to 5, and you notice, what do you see? It's all red. You flick to 6. 6 goes all red. 7 goes all red. These words that we're going to look at today are the words of Jesus Christ speaking to you. Okay? So, very important to take a look at this. It's amazing if you get a red letter Bible and you're just reading through Matthew and all of a sudden, whoa, these things go red. Pretty cool. All right, so these are called the Beatitudes. Again, what's a beatitude? It's got something to do with being beautiful? No. Anybody know? Means blessed. Blessed. Very deeply blessed. Okay? So that's what this is talking about. The Beatitudes are talking about blessings on you. So the first one Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What Jesus is telling people, and you've got to realize that this teaching is revolutionary. He's sitting there going, wow, like people are just shaking their head. Poor in spirit means that the people who are humble, who are not self-focused, can come to him. Those are the people who are blessed. Not the people who've got it all together. Okay? So when you're sitting going, I don't understand this, I don't get this, but I want to learn. That's who he's talking to. He's talking to us. If you're the one that's going, nah, I know all this, he doesn't want to talk to you. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. This does not have anything to do with people dying. What it has to do with people mourning and being sad about their own spiritual condition. Okay? I am so sad that I am a sinner. I am so sad that I break your heart with the things that I do. That's what is being mourned, is the negativity that lives in all of us. But Jesus says, if you do this, if you understand that you sin and you feel bad about it, you will be blessed. Because like any problem, you can't do anything until you recognize the problem. Blessed are the meek, for they're the ones who are going to inherit the earth. Not the ones who are self-centered, not the ones who are prideful, but the meek ones, the weak ones, who need, and that's interesting, who need Jesus. People sometimes go, I'm a lot stronger than I don't need this Jesus thing. I don't need this crutch. It's quite the opposite. If you actually give yourself to him, that's a huge strength. And to stay with him is a huge strength. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Okay, the people who want to try to learn, the people who want to try to be better. These are the ones, they're thirsting. And you ever notice how many times Jesus uses images of food and water? Remember the story about the Samaritan, when he was with the Samaritan woman at the well? Remember what he offered her? Water of living water. The water thing keeps coming back up and up. Where does baptism take place? In water. Water is very important. And as Jesus says here, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. What did you just do in communion here? You ate and drank. Hunger and thirst. Blessed are the merciful, so they will be shown mercy. Again, he's telling people, would you guys be kind to each other? Would you take care of each other? Will you be good to each other? Just show a little bit of, what's that L word? Love. Okay, his key thing that he always focuses on. Because if you show mercy to other people, then you will be shown mercy. What goes around comes around. A lot of this is really radical. Like the whole idea of like, I've got money and I ain't sharing it with you. I worked hard for it. I'm not helping you. Something's wrong with a person, they're weak or they're sick. Suck it up. I'm not helping you. It's, the whole attitude that they had before Jesus came was a me-centered thing. When Jesus came, this was a whole revolutionary thing where we're starting to look out for each other. And people just like, whoa, really? Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Now you're not going to be perfectly pure. You're not going to be perfect. That's not what that means. That only the pure in heart are going to be blessed. It's again the people who love on somebody else, whose heart is driving them in the right direction. See, what happens is when Jesus came, there was a huge change. A lot of the religion was here, not here. And unfortunately, there is still some religious thought running around now in the 21st century that is still focused in here. Somebody walks into a store and sees a $20,000 Rolex sitting on the table. Nobody around. You can pretty well quickly, figure out who the Christian is. You have a person who says they are a Christian, looks at the Rolex and
takes it, steals it.
Exactly. Now what's happening is their religion's in here. Okay? That's not a Christian. The Christian is in here. The Christian, without thinking, would pick up the watch, say to the attendant, excuse me, but this was left on the counter. Not even thinking, because this is what is driving the person. It is a huge change. That's what Roger was talking about. When the Holy Spirit comes into you, the heart should start to change. Let's be realistic too. Go off a little tangent here too. Sometimes we need to, in our prayer time, ask for a top-up. Sometimes we get down on the Holy Spirit. We need to keep that topped up. And again, that's why we need to stay in prayer. You can't do this thing. I'm a Christian. Everything's good. That's it. Rock on. I'm zipping through life. You have to stay in touch. Amen. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Amen. Make peace amongst people. If you see people fighting, if you see people arguing, try to smooth that out. Unfortunately, do you know what happens sometimes? People fan the flames. You ever seen situations? There's a person standing on the 19th floor ledge of an apartment building. What is the crowd doing? Watching, and the really scary thing is the ones who are jump, jump, jump. Come on. It doesn't take much to be a peacemaker. Yeah, sometimes somebody's going to tell you to F off or something. But the thing is it's not an easy journey being a Christian. We have to try to make the world better. We do a prayer in here sometimes where it starts off, I don't like the way the world is. I don't like the way the country is. I don't like the way the province is. I don't like the way the city is. And it comes down to you. What are you doing with your neighbor? Are you changing anything? Because it grows up through. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Jesus is honest. And I don't know, this is sometimes where we get into trouble with church. Somebody says to you, hey, become a Christian, and everything's going to be perfect. I'd love to grab a hold of something like that. And just that is such a huge lie. And then when things go up, when the wheels fall off your bus, you go, liar, liar, pants on fire, and then you walk away from the church. Jesus tells you it's going to be a challenge. But it's going to be worth it. And sometimes, that's why we have to work together. So when Charmaine is having a hard time, she's being persecuted for her beliefs and this type of thing, she can come and talk to me and say, Pastor Dave, I'm having such a hard time, and we can encourage each other. I can help carry her. You can't do this by yourself because that's when the enemy comes out. Remember, the only time the enemy decided to go after Jesus, when Jesus was alone by himself in the wilderness. And if he's going to go after Jesus when he's by himself, you know he's coming after you when you're isolated. Don't be isolated. And number 11 is very much like 12. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. This is a hard thing to do. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. We don't want to be the focus of negativity. You know, when you get the real bigots flying around and they're coming at you, oh, you're one of those homosexual hating Christians, aren't you? You're one of those people who wants to burn them homosexuals. What are you talking about? And what you have to do is go like, whoa, whoa, excuse me, you're wrong. Don't run away. Running away is often what we try to do. But, you know, straighten people out. It's not easy. You're going to church on Sunday? What kind of freak are you? I'm a freak that's happy. How about you? How's your life going? You know, you ever notice around the water cooler at work and this type of thing? What did you do on the weekend? I went to church. Where? I went to church. Where'd you go? I went to church. I went to church. And it's interesting, sometimes people will actually say to you, why? Or, how did that go? And one of the things we're supposed to do is spread the gospel. People are opening the door to ask questions. You don't have to go when, you know, the Great Commission, Matthew 28, where we're supposed to spread the gospel. It's not one of those things where you walk up to a person, you walk up to a stranger and say, so, heathen, have you been washed in the blood of Jesus? No, it doesn't work that way. You want a relationship. So when somebody says, oh, you go to church? Yeah, it's really cool. Would you like to come with me? Now, the worst that can happen is no, but they might say, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. Okay? You could be bringing somebody to faith. Discussion questions. How would you explain the Beatitudes to a non-believer? Number 2, do you personally believe that the people Jesus spoke about are truly blessed? Are the persecuted blessed? Are the peacemakers blessed? Are the people who are trying to walk with him blessed? So that's really going to ask you to reflect on your own life. Do you personally, if you're a Christian, and we got most of the people up here having communion, so most people are Christians in this room, do you feel blessed? How do you feel blessed? Interesting question. So, have your time. God bless. Have an amazing week. Next week, we're going to get into some more of his teaching. There's some really great stuff. And you're going to learn a lot, I hope. Have a great week. God bless, guys.